Hello everyone and welcome to chapter 9 lesson 2 subqueries single row subquery. In the previous lesson we discussed the idea of the subquery and the benefits of using subquery and how to write a subquery. Here we are going to learn a single row subquery. A single row subquery, it is a subquery where the inner query returns only one record. The subquery only return one record to the outer or to the main query. This is called single row subquery. It returns only one record. For example, return all employees who earns more than the salary of 10 employees. So first of all, you have to write a subquery statement to return the salary of employee 10. So this subquery returns only one row. If the subquery returns only one row, it's called single row subquery. In single row subquery, we use a single row operator like equal, greater than or equal, smaller than or equal, or not equal. So here in our example, select last name, manager ID, department ID from table employees where manager ID equal. Select manager ID from employees where last name equal Matos. Here in our example, we want to return all employees whose manager ID is the same as the employee name Matos. So first of all, I want to identify the manager ID of Matos. So this is your subquery. Select manager ID from employees where last name equal Matos. So this subquery returns the manager ID of Matos, and this manager ID will be used by the outer query to identify all employees where manager ID equal, in our case, 1, 2, 4. If the subquery returns only one value, one column and one row, it's called scalar subquery. So this is the final result from our query. As we can see, the manager ID of all employees is 1, 2, 4, which is the same as the manager ID of Matos employee. Let's have a look at this example. Select employee ID, last name, job ID from employees where salary greater than or equal, and this is our subquery. As we can see, our subquery select average salary from employees group by department ID. So it returns the average salary group by department ID. It returns the average salary per each department. So this subquery returns many values. The average salary for each department. It returns multiple rows. The output here will be used by the outer query. Select employee ID, last name, job ID from employees where salary greater than or equal. So this comparison operator greater than or equal can be used with single row subqueries. So the outer query here is expecting only one value from the subquery, and the subquery returns multiple values. So Oracle in this case will return an error. Single row subquery returns more than one row. So this subquery returns multiple values. To solve this issue, we can use multi-row subquery comparison operators that will be discussed in later lessons. In this lesson, we learned about single row subquery and how to use the comparison operator single row subqueries. I hope this video was informative for you, and thank you for watching.